not every question got picked. A lot of them were left in the fucking dumpster where they belonged.
That'd be the cold open.
Bro gang, we are joined by the Admiral of Ain't No Half stepping in the stairwell, Lauren Schlossman, the Galloping Gobbler, Chuck Franco, and that's Run a Show Business, baby, James Harris. Welcome to the weekly running of the boys, now available behind the paywall on an unhackable, unwatchable YouTube link. How's everyone doing? We're missing Sean, but how you doing, Chuck and Larry?
Great. I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. I'm doing great. This is part 2 of the Q4 AMA. Our 6th pod in 5 days. When we did part 1, we were just like, we have to call it, right? Like it just shut it down. Yeah. It's too much. But we're
too
here.
Much content.
Yeah, but we're here. We're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna answer all of the remaining fucking beautiful, amazing, fantastic questions.
I feel like there's fellow Pulitzer Prize-winning question askers in the Discord and on the iTunes reviews. But yeah, Larry, you want to kick it off?
You were just shitting on like all of the questions right before we started.
Not true. So. Not true. Just the ones that deserve to be shat on.
Chuck, today's a work day for you. We are recording at. Oh shit. Anyway, what are you wearing?
It's a throwing fits work day.
Who are you wearing?
I slipped into the Antonio shorts, the red sweatshorts, my favorite sweatshorts. Uniqlo underwear, different ones than I wore yesterday.
Nice.
And Edgar tee.
Free them all. Free them all till they're all free.
Backwards.
Yeah. Yep. Are you drinking water?
Anything?
Water?
No
Jimothy?
Topo?
I needed to chill him. I forgot to chill him like an idiot. So I'm going to chill him, put him in my Topo branded koozie, and then suck him down.
Pop it open with the Topo.
I'm sad that I'm not going to be able to drink Topos during on Saturday.
It would be so disgusting.
Wait, why not? It's a great palate cleanser.
Would destroy him.
Just spicy water flavored glizzy burps.
Why not?
Every burp, you got to understand, Topo Chico being the best sparkling mineral water in the game, every burp after a hot dog and drinking Topos in 4K, it would be like eating another dog.
But you need to get those burps out of you.
Do you?
I think it's good. You don't want that toxic, gaseous material just lingering in your fucking gut.
Or does it feel like mentally, does it double like the doggage? Is it going to feel like, it might be.
I mean, you got 24 hours to figure it out, buddy.
Yeah, right. James, what are you wearing, buddy?
The only shorts that matter on the ass, farm to ass merch only.
Right.
Hanes boxers, and in the Legace, that juicy Lagucci, Our Legacy Workshop Stussy Hawaiian shirt. And
nice.
Getting sloppy toppy from the Topo Chico.
The sloppiest top that was ever topped. I have Subus on the feet, the only shorts that matter, also on my ass. I am wearing a Our Legacy camp collar. The Peace Crowd joint is on sale right now. This is a fucking fire. Cop that. And then I have on a Siegelman Stable hat, and I'm drinking a grapefruit mimosa. James, would you like to comment?
It is Sunday. It is brunch time. Chuck is not on working hours right now.
Yeah, and then I have a Slopo Topo on deck for as soon as this is done. Okay, cool. That's a complete fit check and drink check. Let's get into the fucking back nine of this bitch.
Let's wrap up the second half of the AMA. Champions are made in the fourth quarter. I'll start it off. Jacob Sklar asks, if you could only wear one brand for every occasion, which would it be, and why would it be Stussy? Very funny second question. Lawrence, if you can only wear one brand, I guess like for life.
Yeah. This is a similar question that we get asked all the time. This one is better though, because really this is asking like, what is the most versatile brand that you can think of? I'm going Ralph Lauren, obviously. Like I need not that I need a tuxedo, but I need suits. I need workwear. I need athletic wear. I need all that shit. Ralph's got that. That's a pretty easy.
Does that include all the sub labels?
Ooh, so am I cheating?
Kind of.
I answered it like it did, but that's fair. I was almost about to be like, yeah, for athletics, Polo Sport. But just straight up, I'm just hooping in ALD New Balance 550s and a full Polo Sport kit, like
Polo stairs.
Fucking like Anthony Fauci on his JV team in like 1942.
Yeah. I was gonna say like Tyson Beckford, but
Tyson Chandler.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess even if I couldn't do that, it would be Polo Ralph Lauren, like Blue Label. They still have like basically everything. I guess what is the other answer for this for me? Supreme, right? They make suits. That's really what I'm thinking about, is the formal stuff.
Well, no, it's about versatility. So for me, yeah. I would say this is an obvious answer, but I stand by it. Our Legacy. They do suiting, they do casual shit, and they do athletic stuff. They do like running shorts. They do underwear now, which is great.
That's right.
Everything. So the full fucking gamut. Well, although that's a collab, so I don't know, but whatever. It's the whole fucking gamut. Chuck, what about you?
I was gonna ask about sub labels too, because
for collabs, there's a lot of open questions here, I guess.
For all the reasons Lawrence mentioned, I would say Uniqlo.
Damn, that's a good answer.
Because like the one suit I have, I wore to the girl holiday party circa 2018 or whatever. But it's a great suit, and I got it at Uniqlo. But like, if I want to be cool, I could slide into the Uniqlo you know, like we've talked about extensively.
Sure. You wore a suit to the Grailed Christmas party?
It was like a jacket and pants, and then I wore like a cashmere sweater underneath the jacket. So not a suit.
Fancy.
Oh wait, you wore the chain. Wait, was it like a turtleneck? Did you wear a turtleneck? It wasn't
it wasn't a turtleneck.
No, I'm serious. I remember this.
And I wore I did not look like The Rock.
This was like this was the underground. This was like the underground club one. We did it that year, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I know exactly. Right next to that Chinese restaurant. Yeah, I definitely, yes. I feel like I have an inkling of, and you look great.
Yeah, thank you. So Uniqlo.
Okay, good to know.
Is
that like, do you have any aspirations to like level that up at any point, Chuck, or is that just where you're at for life? Just you're at the U.
What do you mean level up?
I mean, Uniqlo is like a basics brand, right? Like, yes, they do suiting and shit, but like, are you? That's just your answer for life.
I mean, well, maybe if I start making like six figures, I could maybe like.
Yeah, but what else is he supposed to pick? Like Tom Ford or Berluti?
I don't know. I mean, this question doesn't put any constraints on it, so it's not what you can afford or what you have right now.
It's weird that he was so drawn to Stussy. Like, what suit am I getting from Stussy? I mean, and shout out No Vacancy in that, but that suit was not good. That was not. That was. I like their. I didn't like the streetwear. Kind of like liked the streetwear suit. I was not a fan of that.
I kind of like the. No, I realized I didn't want it, but I kind of because I would never wear a double-breasted suit. But the plaid suit isn't bad. They have like a brown.
Stussy has just a normal plaid suit.
Yeah, they've been suiting all the time. I remember fucking Gian was like rocking Stussy suits and was like, "Yo, like Stussy makes suits now."
Damn. Maybe Stussy is. I mean, he wanted to answer. Jacob threw that in, so maybe Stussy is a solid one. Whatever. Okay. Breakfast Beans, very cool reference. You listen to the podcast. Wants to know when do you guys plan to expand the video content beyond just the recorded Zooms? I understand the logistical issues with it right now, but what exactly is on the horizon, Jimmy?
I mean, we talked about this in a recent Boys Only, I don't know how long ago, or I guess like 2 weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, if we're going to start doing shit together and it's safe to do so, right? Like, why not just find some videographer? And some dude was in, DM. Some guys were like in the DMs. Somebody emailed us a very long email that I couldn't read this morning because it was just a lot of words.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess the hope is that as fucking lame as it sounds, like these little like dates that we go on like are prime for content, right? Not just talking about them, but also just like documenting the actual shit that we do. Like, I want to see you try and do a pull-up. Like, that is going to be incredible.
Well, first of all, don't don't say try to do a pull-up. I can do a pull-up.
You can do an pull-up.
Yeah, basically. We also just talked about this, at least in real life, even more recently when we looked at an Office Space because, I agree with you. I hate the word vlogging, and there's never going to be like TF vlogs, but you and I
prank, bitch.
Yeah, but
these guys went to the hood and stepped on guys' sneakers. No, we're not those fucking LA YouTube pranksters.
Exactly right. We're not going to ever do that. I think we do hang out, we do shit that, at least based on what happened when we went digging in the crates most recently, which is what you're referring to. I absolutely want to do that. And then for me, I would once guests are okay with linking up with us in person to record podcasts, most likely in 2021. This is why we're even looking at an office space to begin with. Once that happens, I would like to give the guests the option of potentially like opting out. Right? If they don't want to do it, like Jonah Hill is not going to want to do that, right? Someone like Ezra Koenig probably not going to do that.
It gets tricky if you're inconsistent. So I don't know. I think also another thing we talked about.
But we would give. But that's something that's always going to be paywalled. So it's like whatever.
Sure. Another thing we talked about though is when we're getting a little aperitif and oysters before our gluttonous dinner, our first dinner. I had a dinner later at Burger King.
Yeah, our dinner pregame. Yeah,
was like Burger King has spicy nugs and mozzarella sticks.
Wait, Burger King literally last night you did fourth meal. What's the Taco Bell shit? Like, you had three dinners.
What were you saying? Oh yeah, so it's like we're thinking up ideas again when shit is like safe again. Like we could do like a movie night where we get some sort of space and invite patrons, right? And like because we're only in New York, you might get like 10 or 15 guys, but can we live stream that? And then the question became like, when COVID, in the post-COVID world, are people still going to be relying on live streaming content and tuning into live stream content the way they are now, right? Or are people going to go back to like having a life again? Right. So that's something, but then
very unclear, but I think that we don't want to, and I do this way more than you, but we're never trying to be the big things coming guys. Cause that's fucking, I mean,
you say that every episode.
We're not trying to be, but we are to some degree. But,
I need a video editor to put a fucking clown emoji on this guy's face right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're going to try to figure it out next year.
Yeah, it's, we need a chill video guy. That's all. All right. My question to ask from Seth at Work or Set Hat Work. What are you guys personally doing to be more ecologically friendly when choosing clothes to buy? Are you avoiding fleeces, white tees, things you don't love, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah. Shout out Seth. Thanks for the good question. And I know we just, well, I don't know if just, but we recently did like a vintage themed episode and we went digging. That's not just kind of like we said on Unlocked Boys Only. Pretend I didn't give a fuck about the environment at all. Pretend I was a terrible person. Like close your eyes and imagine that I'm a bad guy. Right. I know it's very tough for a lot of you. That's just what's exciting me on an aesthetic level. So for me right now, I'm basically only buying vintage. So even if it's like if I wanted a new fleece for fall, I'm going to try to find a vintage fleece. It just so happens that like the quote unquote right thing to do is lining up with like the John's Addict thing that is exciting me right now, that is getting my fucking rocks off. So it kind of like lines up perfectly, but I'm definitely thinking moving forward about trying to buy vintage as much as possible. And then if it is going to be something that's new, I know this isn't necessarily about the environment, but like we've said it before, we'll say it again, like trying to support independent designers of color, just trying to throw that money not to a huge fucking corporation that ultimately is going to jump through as many hoops as possible to butt fuck me, the consumer, in some way or another, usually by destroying the fucking planet. Yeah, fuck someone, in the supply chain or me, somewhere in there. But yeah.
The planet.
Yeah.
The planet.
I think it's, first and foremost, it's like, do not cop fast fashion. Like if you're still doing that, then get the fuck out of here.
Unless it's Uniqlo.
Yeah.
Because Uniqlo is... We love Uniqlo.
Yeah, we love you.
Do people know if Uniqlo like? Do people know I
feel like Uniqlo is
it
like
bad?
The Shake Shack of fast food. That's what it is.
So it's all branding.
No, I mean like you have like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's that are like obviously horrible, right? Just horrible.
Chipotle is good, right? Apparently.
Yeah, I guess so. But by Shake Shack, I mean it's not it's not like exploiting food deserts or like insanely unhealthy. It's not fast food. It's like good food quickly. That's what it is.
What's Dairy Queen? It's not fast food. It's fan food.
Really? That's terrible.
That's their slogan. No, I like it a lot.
I don't get
it. You know me. I fucking love a jingle. I love a slogan. I'm a fan of that. Fan food. Yeah, because I think the whole thing.
They need to hire a chef.
No one thinks of Dairy Queen as like a place where you should like cop tendies or a fucking burger, but like but people who know, whenever I go to Houston to visit Jenna's family, we'll get burgers at Dairy Queen, and they're really fucking good.
All right, you're just a fucking victim. No, but I think it's also
he's the Dairy King.
I'm the Dairy King, dude. Go off, Dairy King. Woo!
A pair of Dairy Kings. I think it's also like grappling with your John's addiction and not copying for the sake of copying. Right? Like you need to truly think like, do I need this sweater when I have, 10 others already lined up? Like, am I just doing it for a crumb of serotonin? or am I doing it because I actually like need it? And
you're talking about the deeper, which is doing the work on yourself, like versus
well,
like
it's just like grappling with the cop, like grappling with the cop now mentality, cop ASAP, must cop, right? No, like not everything a must cop. Just kind of and eventually when you do have to build out your wardrobe, and hopefully when you get to the point where you have like a few solid options of basically everything, then just understanding that you're pretty good. All right.
Okay. Great question. Thank you, Seth. Shout out, Seth. All right, here we go. Great question from Trev Hulan. And this kind of worked out perfectly because it's for you. Jimmy, what was the best and most toxic part of the music industry? And is there anything you miss about it? Great fucking question, Trev. I'm very curious.
The best for like personal gain was there's still so much fucking money in the music industry, right? Like an insane amount of money. And so in the very beginning, coming from media where there's no fucking money, I was like so hesitant to like expense lunches or approve like overtime on a video shoot or whatever, like, or like stay an extra night at a hotel or even like book a nicer hotel than usual.
Right.
And they're just like, yeah, do that. Like,
do it. Go off, Dairy King.
Swipe me down.
Swipe me down, shorty.
Swipe down that corp card.
Yeah. Yo, I feel like you took me out and put it on Def Jam
for sure.
A few times. For sure.
But that's also an issue
and coming rapper ASAP Larry. What is it, ASAP Bullwinkle? Is that what? Remember when we had Ferg on Fashion Bros? Yeah. You were like, I forget what your name was, but I remember I'm being like ASAP Bullwinkle, man. Fuck.
That made no sense.
Anyway.
But then the thing there is that like everyone thinks that throwing money at the problem is the solution, and that's not necessarily the case, right? So it's like, and you end up just wasting so much fucking money. And that brings me to like my next point, which is the most toxic part of the music industry, is how it fucking, like, if you're a young 19-year-old kid, right, and you get some juice and you get signed, those deals, and we all know that Kanye's canceled and like fuck Kanye, fuck Trump, Kanye, everything, but like, yo, what some of the stuff that he was saying about contracts like does hold some weight. It is effectively, the label is giving artists, you get a signing bonus, right? And then because you're a 19-year-old kid who's like probably never had money before, you're spending it immediately. Also because image is so important. You need a fucking chain, right? You need the clothes, you need the Amiris. Then they loan you money.
Right.
It's a loan with like insane interest attached to it. And with that money, you're supposed to go and make an album. So you're supposed to go book studio time, supposed to, pay for features, supposed to get pay for beats, all
pay
that
for music
stuff.
Video, whatever.
Pay for well, that's different. Pay for fucking, if you're a singer, like vocal lessons, dance lessons, if you're a dancer, right?
Sure. Or a TikToker.
Exactly. But like, it's like, so when you finally drop the album, all the money that's recuperated goes back to the label with like huge interest on top of that. And then the artist sees whatever, not much. And then they're locked into like, 3-4 album deals. And so the quality gets worse and worse and worse. And what really is sad is that you see these young kids and they're all touted as like the next fucking, the next Kendrick, the next Tyler, whatever. And then like, if they're single flops and it's not even necessarily their fault, they just like disappear.
Right. For
like,
sure.
You
Whatever happened evaporate.
Whatever happened to that guy. And then just like, oh, it didn't slap. Like we thought it was a smash. It wasn't a smash. It's
he
like,
works at Dairy Queen now. Actually.
Yeah, exactly. He's a podcast.
Kind of yeah, he's a podcaster. He's ASAP Bullwinkle. He's podcasting.
So it's sad when you see like really young kids and where I was, like young men and women of color come in, and again, like they're on every, and the fact that figures in the music industry are now like have huge social followings. They're always like, yo, this is my son, this is my son, ASAP Bullwinkle, he's next, keep an eye on him. 1 month later, like ASAP Bullwinkle was fucking vaporized, right?
Right.
Never heard from again. And it's sad. And so like now they're like, so that's shitty. And I guess like that, there's parallels in sports too, where like,
and even the publishing industry. I don't know if you guys are aware, I wrote a book. I am a published author, and that advanced shit, not that I'm like saddled with debt, but like, yeah, I've been trying to earn back that advance for years. Yeah. Never gonna happen.
So there's some, and there's some people that do it right. Like my boy Dart, what he does is he basically, as an A&R, he also, which are the guys that like give you the budget to make the album and kind of
artist and repertoire.
He also will kind of take on a manager role a little bit, where he won't just give them all the money at once, which is the norm. He'll be like, look, you, for your signing bonus and for your, I think like record making money, he's like, here's your monthly allowance. right? Like here's your per diem, here's your per monthum, whatever. So you don't go.
Yep, that's it. That's Latin.
So you don't go and blow.
Per monthum.
I took Latin a little bit. Yeah. So is there anything I missed about it? I guess there's some like nice perks, like you get to stay in nice hotels and shit, and like people do think it's a cool job, but like I never really liked it. It's so I think Hunter S. Thompson said like, yo, the music industry is a fucking hallway filled with pimps, thieves, crooks, pickpockets, shady shysters, and then you get to the door, and that's like the first step into the actual industry.
Damn, dude, the GOAT. He don't miss.
That's the other thing. Yo, that's the other thing is that everyone is looking out for number one, and so nothing, very little gets done.
That's fashion. That's media too, though.
Yeah,
that's
but
a lot. All these
like,
sexy jobs. No one. There's
no money. But there's no money in fashion. There's no money in media, right? So like, there isn't like 3 middlemen where everyone has to get their cut. It's like some organized crime shit. I mean, it's kind of fire that way, but it's like
it's Hollywood. The music industry, even whether it's Def Jam in New York, it's shit is Hollywood, bro. Yeah. That's like what it is. So.
I miss the perks. I miss being in a work environment where I was the minority. Def Jam is mostly black people and brown people, and I think it's important to like be in situations where you're not the dominant demographic. I know, Lawrence, you've never been in that situation, so that's why you are how you are.
Okay.
And I think that's why, like, you know, just understanding that like your perspective and your way of doing things is like not how everyone does it. So I think that's important. I think that was cool to like be a part of. And I miss Dro, the fucking
GOAT.
Yeah.
Cool.
That
Thanks,
answers
James.
it, right? That was a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Next question. Oh, this also lines up perfectly. Who wrote this part of the show? Because this is just fucking clicking. Jay Balrup says, I assume this question's for you. How do you go about picking the engagement ring? Potential fiance wants to pick her own. So should I get a proxy ring for the actual proposal? And sorry if we just outed you and like your, you know, fiance or girlfriend listens to the pod, which she doesn't.
Oh, that would be a disaster. Well, I guess he said potential fiance, so I guess even he knows. Even he knows things might go sideways.
If he finds out she listens to the pod, he's breaking up with her.
Yeah. As far as how
vice versa, actually.
How I went about it, that was definitely a dialogue. I mean, this is very case specific thing for me. But you know, if you ask Jenna, I took forever to propose. Upwards of
12 years,
8.5 years, something like that. So I literally had, this is no bullshit, and made my life super easy, you know, 9 years later, but I had a email thread from Jenna over the years, for your consideration. Basically, that was like, this is what I want, whatever, solitaire, 4-prong, whatever, platinum.
Here's my Pinterest board.
So that was easy for me to then leverage. The big thing is like, I pray to God that anybody buying diamonds at all has some type of plug, even if it's like, you know, fucking 8 fucking degrees removed, because you're definitely you're gonna want to talk to someone who like you trust, that's gonna give you a dedeal. I don't wish that upon anyone. It's a fucking racket. You need that
gem. You need that gem to be cut.
Yeah, buying a diamond fucking sucks, and I guess any precious stones. As far as the fiance picking her own, in my case, right, Jenna basically picked exactly what she wanted. I think there's 2 ways to go about this that work, and I hope this could apply to you. One is like ask the person specifically what it is that they want. And if they have a certain type of personality, they're going to be more than happy to give you every fucking detail so that you don't fuck it up. That was me. The other thing that I've seen that works really great and probably has an even fucking better intended result is like, how well do you know this person? How have you picked up on cues as far as like what kind of things they like about jewelry or diamonds? What have they said about friends' rings or things like that? At which point, pick the amazing ring without any type of help, and really fucking knock it out of the park.
That's a move is consulting with her.
Yes, consult with a friend,
usually, right? Like,
absolutely, definitely did that.
And they can kind of middleman the conversation and like have that conversation where it's still a surprise.
Yeah, middlemaning the ring, and middlemaning how you even running a proposal by something like that. All the surprise stuff that goes into an engagement. It's always great to have an open line of communication with the BFF or multiple people that know your potential fiance even better than you. A proxy ring, I actually have never heard about that until now. As far as like having a proxy ring, I mean, maybe if you're getting some type of custom thing done that's going to take a huge amount of time and you are like racing against the clock like I was, but I would say wait to get the ring and do the damn thing.
Am I wrong?
Real way.
Yeah. The proxy ring thing is kind of crazy because am I wrong? Like, isn't it somewhat normal now? Because obviously, like, you have a conversation that you're going to get married or like get engaged, right? You don't fucking spring it on them out of nowhere. It's not a fucking, it's not a fucking,
unless you're
rom-com.
Chris Green.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a rom-com and it's not Chris Green's life. But
wait, have we ever said Grom-con?
Grom-com?
A Grom-com? Dude, if Chuck has an ep with Chef.
That's Grom-con.
That's Grom-com.
But we need
Grom-con? So they're going to have their own fucking conference?
We need a Grom-con where we sell tickets to meet Chef and Chuck.
So you can hang out at Chef's cool new apartment.
And they show
spin vinyl while Chuck is like completely. You were reclined so hard. You were fucking ripping that bong, dude. But yeah. Anyway, that's
Grom. You show a trailer of the upcoming season.
Sham is your MCM sitting in MCM.
Woo! Damn.
I'm gonna text him that. Never mind. He's on vacation.
Was it the womb? Wait, were you on the womb chair? That you were in the womb chair? No.
I was so in euphoria that I don't even remember.
That was the womb chair. Yeah.
I was at an obtuse angle. I'll tell you that.
My man was busted open.
Wow.
An obtuse angle.
He was busted wide open. He was fucking breakdancing in the womb, dude. Hell yeah.
Fucking booing. Right. He was like that Maxwell ad. The guy's just like
you just shit blew. Yo, that womb blew my shit back, fam. Hell yeah. Okay, I think we answered that question, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
Lots of ring talk. My favorite.
Oh, the best. I love it. Cool. Thanks, dude. You're up.
Oh, am I up? No, you're up. You asked this question.
Oh, shit. My bad. All right. Absolute Unit wants to know, my GF is not a John's enthusiast. No surprises there. Do you have any recommendations on pieces or methods I can use to incept her to go down the John's rabbit hole?
I would say don't do that because then she doesn't waste a bunch of money on a bunch of fucking material shit. But I guess if you're going to really incept her, you probably want, well, first of all, you got to I would say add John to the rotation that she can borrow, right? Mm. So like a very nice hoodie, some fucking very nice jeans. I guess not shoes are out of the question. Like a nice cardi. And then when she starts to understand how the shit actually feels on skin, that good fucking mouth feel.
Farm to ass.
Whether it's her ass, whether it's her fucking armioles, whatever. Then hopefully she, starts to understand like why it is you care about this, and maybe she should give a shit too. But also like, why would you foist that onus upon anyone?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. The one thing that I've employed that has seemingly, well, it hasn't even really worked that well. Jenna famously thinks that this podcast and all the things that we love are completely and utterly frivolous. But I will say that when she talks about something like a piece of clothing that she loves, like a cool pair of clogs for her, or like a
pink
cool
joints.
Yeah, or like a cool pair, or excuse me, a cool shirt that like a friend has worn. I'm always or
her brunch hats behind you.
Yeah, those are more like beach themed as opposed to like a Christian Girl autumn. Like,
well, you have LA, you have West Hollywood brunch up top, then you have the Cameron pink in the middle.
Yeah, they're all straw. These are all like, well, and the top one is from her bachelorette party.
The bottom one is the botch. That's what you play bocce in.
Also, by the way, we moved our microwave into the office. Because it was just
lean cuisines.
No, yeah, right. I've always been self-conscious, or not self-conscious, but I wondered if anyone noticed. But
I had no idea what that was.
We did a whole deep cleaning in our. Yeah, I wonder if anyone's been like, is that a printer or whatever? I guess that's my point. But we deep cleaned our kitchen a while back, and Jenna was like, "Yo, there's so much more counter space for recipe books and like whatever knives and shit, and just configuring it in a way." She's like, "Where can this go?" And I guess this was like the next best thing. And now your boy, I'll pop in a lean cuisine, and then I'll come right over and eat it, and then pot. You don't
even have to leave the office.
Exactly.
That's how dedicated you are to your work.
From the kitchen to the boardroom, dude. Just one step.
Does your life partner Jenna, your wife, is she
My
like
life partner.
Books? Are you like, what the fuck, bro? Like, stop buying so many fucking books. Look at how many. Like, is there or Chuck? Does your significant other? I don't know if we're allowed to say her name or not.
We are Lily.
Yeah.
Okay. Do Lily and Jenna have any like John's copying
equivalents?
They're not John's addicts, but are they like book addicts or whatever? Is Lily anything like that? And does it grind your gears? Is it the bee in your bonnet?
Not at all. I have probably 3 times as much stuff as she does. It's really bad.
Well, she's who we should all aspire to be, my wife included, because Lord knows Jenna loves her a fucking book. No, James, let me finish what I'm saying. So anytime that Jenna brings, though I interrupted myself with the hats, I guess in the microwave, but
yeah, what the fuck? You can't.
Well, I guess you
interrupt the interruption.
Shut the fuck up! I'm talking here, Larry. She whenever she starts, whenever the times when she brings up clothing, I just like really lean into that. We have fun, we talk about it, and then always I'm like, let's just cop it. Let's just get it. Let's do it. You love it now. You understand what it's like. Just buy it, get it.
You encourage the John's addiction.
I encourage it.
You're her enabler. You're like, no, it's cool. You can just do it between your toes. No one will see.
I guess you're right. I guess it depends on like what kind of metaphor you want to use, but yeah. So I just want her to get it. Just you want to see what it's like? Have a taste. Buy those clogs.
Just a little bit.
Just a little taste. Just some clogs. Oh,
you don't have to inject it. You just snort it. It's cool.
Oh, yeah, it's cool. Just freebase. Freebase those clogs. Just real quick. Just put it in the back.
Just put it in the back of your knee. No one will see it.
All right. I think the next question is from Do you have anything to add?
Let me ask you this. Does her book enthusiasm filter down to you at all? I know you're illiterate and you can't read.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean,
but like has her personal joy for books and reading ever filtered down to the peanut gallery?
No, I think that copying John's and like fashion as a hobby, like we get it, but it's a tough one.
A hobby.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's a tough one to justify versus like reading is I think most people see that as like a noble pursuit, right? And also,
so I'm saying I'm not saying
it has not.
It. Okay.
It has not. And like also like she gets ebooks from the library, and so it's not always just like buying fucking, what is she buying? First edition fucking Catcher in the Rye, with an inscription from J.D. Salinger to his fucking kid. No.
I mean,
so it's not like a money pit.
You're too I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm asking if you have like picked up reading more ever since.
You should.
And the answer is no. You are too stupid.
When you say trickle down to the peanut gallery, I thought me like fucking condemning her spending money on books. Sorry, we're not on the same page here. Yeah. Boom, no pun intended.
It would be great if you read a book and could.
It has.
Up your IQ.
It has. Most recently.
What coloring book are you doing?
Drew, fuck you. But Drew Magri, who was a columnist for Deadspin, columnist in GQ, she recommended 2 books to me, one of which I've read, and one of which is the next book I am going to read. So fuck you, dude. Okay. All right. Trying to fucking call out the peanut. We got fucking Mr. Peanut calling out the peanut gallery over here. Come on, bro.
Who is who's reading the next one?
Me. Sushi Jerk wants to know, what's your process like for booking guests? So far the pod has mostly stuck to friends of the show, but is there a process going forward to reach out to people who you might not know well / only interact with tangentially?
The process is just like, who would be good on the show? This person. I mean, I don't know when.
I thought you were about to actually recommend. I thought you just thought that. You sold that one. That's like your TikTok acting, Jimmy.
Chris Green is like, I'm just on his IG, and like again, he is a fucking cloutless peon.
Yeah.
Who he's a Dexman. That's all he does. He builds decks. But now we got him, thousands and thousands of more followers. But it's like, Larry, like Chris Green on the pod. Like I think that'd be a good fit. That's a good fit. All right, let me hit him up. And then trying to stack them one after the other. And then it's just like, I don't know. It's a week to week ongoing conversation. We should be better at this. We were talking yesterday that we should just put a fucking list together, send it to the WME homies.
Right.
Be like, who can you get us? Because yes, it's great to have friends on the podcast, but it's also great to have big splashy moments like a Jonah Hill or like an Ezra Koenig or Barstool Big Cat.
Right.
Or whoever, and I think that one thing that's really fucking hamstringed us recently is we have connections to these like legit stars in LA, but we keep being like, yo, let's wait until we're in LA this winter to like
big
do
things
it then.
coming.
Right. LA trip this winter. But it's more like, I mean, I think we should just start pulling the trigger on these people because I think that the whole Zoom pod thing isn't going away anytime soon.
No, definitely not. As far as guests, a couple thoughts. One, it is the thing that I am most self-conscious about when it comes to comparing this show to any other podcast, whether it's like in our lane or elsewhere. And that's something that I'm always acutely aware of. With that said, like, we want to have on friends so that the conversation is good. Like, of course, Jonah and Ezra are awesome, and we want to do more of that. And I think we have some real fucking potentials lined up. But the best final product typically is with someone who has an amazing rapport with James and myself, or is familiar with the show to some degree. That might sound like an excuse, but I'm being totally genuine. Like, I think that those conversations always come out better than when you just throw in someone who's like, oh, I hope they promote it to 100,000 people on Instagram that are like probably not gonna fucking click through anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's also, I think it's always really cool when, and I think part of, there's a lot of unusable recon with this podcast, right?
Sure.
Sometimes there's usable recon, and I think that comes in the form of surfacing guys like a Chris Green, where it's like, yo, I didn't know who this, like, you drop his announcement, people are like, who the fuck is this guy? No offense, Chris. I know you're not listening. But then it's like, oh shit, like this guy rules, or like a Bar Brown, right? Like everyone's like, who is this dude? And then you just realize like, oh, this guy's an OG. He has knowledge. He's fucking spitting darts everywhere. So I always really like when people kind of like, oh shit, this is real enlightening podcast. This guest was like great, because if you put like a fucking, I don't know, Army Hammer, if we have Army Hammer on the pod,
right?
Like, is that going to be that interesting? Like, is it going to be, are you just going to get your giggles when we're like, yo, what panties are you wearing? Versus like having a fucking super enlightening conversation with like the John Moyes of the world.
Being like only being the if you know pod is mad corny, and I hope that that's not how we come off as, but like we absolutely want to have on like people we know that we think are sick, that like nobody else would have on, and then we just need to do admittedly a better job of like also then maybe it's not monthly, but like every other month, like bringing in a splashy name that will put asses in the seats, that will help the pod grow, because that's really good for everyone, not just like ourselves, but like the listeners of the show as well.
Yeah,
so we're trying to figure that sliding scale, like everything, bro. There's some nuance, and I admit that we could be better to some.
I mean, it's that balance, right? And I think like, I think what we were recently just doing all like kind of fashion heads, and we're like, yo, we need to pull back on the fashion dudes, even though we just thought of like 3 other like fashion heads that would be fire for the show. It's like, all right, like let's reach out to them, but let's schedule it so it's not just all like, oh, like peeling back the curtain on the fashion industry, because like it gets tired after week after week after week after week. Chuck, who do you want to see on the show? What are some guests you want to see on the show?
Oh yeah,
Seth Rogen. Pusha T.
We mentioned him recently.
Wait,
did we not just answer this in part 1? Part 1 was recorded so long ago. I think we answered this question.
I just want to bring Chuck into the fold before he falls asleep.
What do you think of the guest selection, Chuck? Not who you'd want to see on it, because I think we did that. But like, what do you think? Do you think we're nailing it, or do you think we're leaving something to be desired? Well, we probably are. I mean, that's kind of the truth.
I mean, I agree with you guys. Like, I think like we need like the Bar Browns, the Robs, and like you guys kind of just like the natural way of like just like, oh, what about this person that you guys do is like great, but I think I agree that it should be a balance of like we need the Jonahs, we need the Seth Rogens, and I don't know, I would love to see you guys interview like fucking, I don't know, Obama or some shit. Like it should be it's like someone huge like at the same time. So
do you think Sasha Malia listens to the pod?
What drone strikes are you?
Do you think Sasha Malia listens to the pod?
With?
You fucking with Raytheon brands,
right?
You don't think Sasha Malia listens to the pod, Chuck?
No. And also fuck Obama, bro.
What? Shut up, Lawrence. Shut the fuck up. Go, just because you're a podcaster doesn't mean to fucking be.
That was just an example.
Lefty. All right. Cool. Larry question, part 2 follow-up from Sushi Jerk. Larry question, does being married affect your John Copping thought process at all?
No. Not at all.
You're broke either way.
No, I don't know if that's what he's implying. Listen, man, I'm a head of a household either way. So whether I'm fucking supporting someone else or supporting my own John's addiction, like, that's what I'm here. That's what I'm here to do, dude. I'm a provider, bro. Like Frank Ocean. You know what I'm saying?
I guess it's like
I put fucking food on the table. I put John's on the table.
And if this is your partner's like passion, right? Unless you're fucking Buzz Bissinger copping Gucci to the point where your life is ruined.
Yeah.
Like you should be like supporting that and proud of that, right? Again,
I think
as long as it's not fucking, you're not
I think Jenna would agree.
As long as you're not like squirreling away money and hiding it from your partner.
No, I don't do any of that. I don't do.
I'm not accusing you. I'm just like the dad of the Pair of Kings guy that had a secret family on the side, like that type of shit.
Jenna definitely is mad at all of the shit I get. Like it's almost too much. The flow team stuff, where she's like, I know you don't even really want some of this shit. She's like, I know you probably need to have some hard conversations with people and hurt their feelings and be like, yo, thank you
for the toy car,
but I'm good. And my wife is going to murder me in my sleep or divorce me, or Well,
that's what I've been doing is kind of not that recently, but I should, with like flow stuff that I don't necessarily want, is like sending it to kids on the court, right?
I like that. Yes,
and not in a way where it looks like I'm going to commit suicide, because apparently that's a thing. You start giving away your possessions when you kill yourself. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, that's a sign of suicidal thoughts. And that was happening like post breakup, so it's kind of shitty,
that's horny Jimmy after he nuts. He becomes depressed Jimmy. He has that little clarity.
Let me send you my jizz rag on 2-day priority.
Yeah. Okay, next question from Freaking Vibe.
It's a freaking vibe.
It's a freaking vibe, bro. What's your guilty pleasure trash Zuvi?
Surf Ninjas first and foremost. And then I just watched this and I realized that I could fucking basically go line for line with the whole flick. The Rock, starring Sean Connery and Nick Cage.
But The Rock is fire. Does anyone think that's a trash guilty pleasure?
I think it's like it's not trash, but I think it's like a guilty pleasure.
Like would Face Off be that? Or like Snake Eyes? I'm just thinking of Nick Cage.
Probably Face Off is like more ridiculous.
Is that John Woo?
I think that's John Woo's first American film.
Damn, dude. I mean,
maybe
sick. Okay, so maybe.
But it's on Amazon. Yeah. I think it's just like it's not a movie that a lot of people would enjoy.
I don't know. I mean, listen, everyone listening, if you're young and you've never seen The Rock, which might be a lot of people,
it's on Amazon Prime. Go fucking stream it.
Dude, should we do it for real on The Rock?
Yo, the amount of one-liners,
it's incredible.
Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Yeah, that's
Carla was the prom queen. Really? And then he cocks the gun. Chuck, have you seen this? You know what I'm talking about?
Face Off? I've seen Face Off.
No, The Rock.
I haven't seen The Rock.
Have you seen The Rock?
The Rock. Have you seen Con Air?
I've seen Con Air.
Con Air is fun. I mean,
I think it's Face Off and The Rock. I put it at a tie, and then I think Con Air is beneath that.
My grandma put me on to Nicolas Cage.
Really?
You peeped her letterbox?
Yeah, it's USA. Characters welcome.
Yeah.
Yo, I did just watch National Treasure recently. That shit's still fucking slaps.
No, both of those are legit.
It's the rare sequel that still bang.
Shit. I guess, okay, so I was trying to think of my answer to this question, and everything that we've been talking about are movies that I rate in high esteem that I don't consider trash Zuvi. So what I came up with in thinking about this for 5 minutes, the shit that I could go bar for bar for that I still reference, and people probably, like, whether it's on the pod or with friends, and maybe people don't even know, but I love Eurotrip. That's just a bad
Scotty
movie.
Doesn't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I start my own hotel when he tips him a fucking nickel. That shit is
Dick
the best.
Sucking Ron loves that movie.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, me and DSR.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess so. Grandma's Boy also is trash, but awesome.
I'm gonna submit Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo.
Yeah,
shit, that slaps. That was my brother. My brother was always like, he's now in finance, so this is kind of like a natural extension, but he's always kind of scheming those like 10 DVDs for like $1 type deals.
Right. Yeah.
Or like the mail away like catalog thing. And so we basically had like 10 DVDs in like high school. And one of them was that Sylvester Stallone Formula One movie.
Okay.
It's fucking ass. And whatever. It was a Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo. And again, that's something where it's like, the humor probably doesn't hold up. I think Rob Schneider's now like MAGA or anti-vax.
Really?
Yeah, and there's
all I
lines
know
like,
is Eddie Griffin is so funny.
yo,
dude.
eating food in the jacuzzi bit.
He might be is he underrated? I feel like he's so funny. At least if you're our age, Eddie Griffin is fucking incredible. But yeah, that's a great movie.
That's a huge bitch. Like that shit does not hold up.
And based on what you said with Deuce Bigalow and me saying Euro Trip and Grabs Boy, any movie that you thought was hilarious in high school is your answer to this question. If you want to pick a comedy, I mean that's really
probably probably like Jackass, right? Like all the Jackass movies.
Those are amazing, dude.
I know, but you wouldn't like. It's a guilty pleasure trash.
I
That's
rewatched
exactly what it is.
Jackass 3 so high, maybe 6 months ago. Fucking died. It was incredible, and that's the worst one of all of them. I think.
Really?
Probably. Well,
I mean,
maybe because they do the craziest shit. I feel like because it was like they're ratcheting up to the third one. But anyway, whatever. Jackass probably in there too.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you for listing all these. Chuck is taking meticulous notes. We could do it for real on maybe any of these. But if The Rock is on Amazon,
I'd be down to do The Rock. You know, it was weird. It was like Sean Connery at the very end of his career.
Yeah, he's a caricature of himself in the movie.
Yes.
I mean, it's awesome.
He's like, maybe I've lost my sex appeal. And like that was like a self-referential thing.
Right.
Sean Connery like becoming old and fucking washed. Ed Harris is fire.
Yes.
Womack.
That's a banger cast. I mean, I mean, all those 90s. Was that Bruckheimer? Who is The Rock?
I think so. I mean, this was
Jerry Bruckheimer film.
This was right before CGI took over, right? So like all the car chases and explosions and everything are real.
PT.
And they're huge.
Pre-Transformers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's your line of cinema demarcation.
Yes.
Michael Bay.
No, The Rock, it was a huge. I mean, it's huge in scope. Like it's not it's not bullshit. It's like they've spent mad bread. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's also like I think it's
the plot is so good too. It's a genius idea. If you've never seen it, you have to watch The Rock. I mean, I can't imagine, but you never know with these fucking kids.
The fucking one. It's you. You're the Rocket Man.
Damn.
Did you like Elton John?
Fucking all right. Shout out The Rock.
Fucking front to back.
Shout out Nicolas Cage. I think Nicolas Cage might be of all of us our favorite actor. If we had because we disagree on a lot of movie shit. I feel like everyone here loves Cage, but also everyone loves Cage, right? He's like a national treasure.
There's like a Cage.
No pun intended.
There's a Cage treasure. There's a Cage assance occurring before our very eyes. You realize that he's like weird
Mandy was really good. He won an Oscar. I watched Leaving Las Vegas a month ago. I was like, but then incredible.
I think his personal life is in absolute shambles. DJ White Privilege was at a bar in Vegas, off the strip, like off the strip, just like
off the shits, off the strip.
And Nick Cage was just like getting fucking hammered by himself, and he's like, "Yeah, I just got divorced I just got married 2 days ago, bro." Like, and he's just like getting fucking obliterated at the bar by himself.
And DJ White Priv was drinking with Nick Cage?
No, he was at a bachelor party, and I think Nick Cage was like, he would like come up to the bar, order, and then like go back to his like private booth.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
They should have invited him to fucking be a part of the bachelor party.
Yeah. Maybe he was with his new wife. I don't know.
So he just got married, but also was...
He just got married, but was like, oh, fuck, I just got married.
Oh, okay.
To the prom queen.
Yeah. Okay.
I drive a Volvo. All right. Wow. What a fucking flick.
Yeah.
Okay. Great Honeydew.
Great interlude.
The real Money Melon asks, as people who have been in media a while and seen it evolve, what do you see next for podcast posting weekly eps and YouTube type content, video pods, vlogs, etc.?
I don't know, dude. You're asking the wrong fucking guy. If I knew, I'd clearly be a fucking billionaire by now, because the one thing that James and I can absolutely do is fucking spit hot fucking fire bars all day. I just see podcasting becoming it's already huge. But I was looking at some shit. My buddy sent me like a graph on Instagram that was just showing the difference between the revenue from the podcast industry as recently as like from 5 years ago, 2015 or whatever. And I was like, holy shit. And I think the biggest thing that maybe some people don't realize, I don't know. This is something that I don't think about. So maybe I'm just really speaking of my own ignorance, but young people love podcasts, right? And a lot of that is consumed on YouTube, but like it doesn't seem to be slowing down. It definitely is something that is way more acceptable and normalized and like cool way to consume entertainment now than it was as recently as 5 years ago. So I see it getting bigger. I don't know like how the content will change. I think you'll probably see more of it on YouTube. That's where young people create content, right? And if
that's
young people,
that's why NBA YoungBoy is like the biggest artist in the fucking country.
Yes, exactly, right? And I think that
dudes that watch YouTube on their PlayStation.
Right. I almost just unplugged my mic. But yeah, I think exactly right. They just run YouTube all day while they just fucking get fucked up in the crib. Yeah, I think
things at the wall.
Yeah, I think podcasting will definitely, not that Spotify isn't clearly like having a huge dog in this fight, and I think Sirius, based on like what's happening with Stern right now, maybe Sirius is even going to like make a play. So I just think that I'm happy that we picked this industry, as embarrassing as it is to try to tell people about. Look, like, hopefully we can fucking make some bread.
There's a reason why Business of Fashion interviewed the co-host of the only podcast that matters on the future of independent media creators, which I think that's the future, right? Like, look at fucking OnlyFans. Even if I'm not talking like cam girls and shit. I'm talking like whatever, like call it what you will. That's content creation. And that person is making the money. And then OnlyFans gets their cut. But like I saw some shit where Black China's making like $20 million a month on her OnlyFans. A month.
Word?
Yeah.
That can't be right.
Yes. It's her. Wow. And then like Bella Thorne and then Tyga.
Damn.
Holy
good
shit.
For her.
I saw the Tyga thing. His dick. I mean, congrats on the dick, dude. I mean,
nice cock.
Good for you, bro. But
nice cock.
But is that not headline grabbing novelty bullshit?
Yeah, obviously they're in another
actually being an independent creator.
Look, they're in another stratosphere. I think that your friend or the graph might have been from an article in the Financial Times that my brother sent me, again, finance guy, where it's like the ad revenue spent on podcasts has grown fucking crazy, right? So there's big money to be had, but it's still the wild, wild west, and it's still a lot of these like small production companies. And Spotify is making gigantic moves with like Rogan, like, gobbling up these independent, smaller production companies or distribution companies or platforms. They copped Anchor, they copped Gimlet, Earwolf. I don't know about Earwolf, actually. I don't know. Gimlet and Anchor were like the two big acquisitions.
Anchor was huge. Right. Shout out.
So the thesis of the article is basically like there's a shitload of money being poured into the podcast industry. It is still the wild, wild west. Spotify has a huge head start. Like they are investing in podcasts as like a significant pillar of like the future of entertainment. So I think it's early days, and I think it's like, hopefully we don't get run over.
Fucking you telling me, bro. Yeah, I don't want to be too much of an early adopter that we fucking miss whatever fucking third wave. Maybe we need more YouTube presence, bro. I think that's maybe what I'm most self-conscious about.
Well,
right? Is
I'm gonna put a note. We're talking about. This is what we have to do. We just send an email to our $10 and $20 best friends, and be like, and do a Google survey, and it's like, when would you be cool?
I love a Google survey.
With the video pods going to YouTube, just like, as regular videos.
Oh, what we were asking in the cord.
Yeah, but I think the email, but the cord is like a subset of the larger thing. And
shout out the cord.
Shout out the cord. Shout out all the subscribers, especially the $10 and $20 ones. The best friends.
We did the cord and Reddit low key dirty on. Was that the Moy pod? Or I feel like we gotta shout out the cord. Shout out the cord in the Reddit. Please do not murder me or ruin my life. Thank you.
Don't ruin the life, but murder
or release me. Maybe be careful what you wish for. Actually,
wear his skin.
Okay, cool. We are absolutely professional podcasters and media experts. That should be. Listen, if you take anything away, if you walk away with anything, it's that we are absolutely on top of everything.
Sure.
100%. Okay, the next question is from Lightfoot. James, he wants to know, what are some brands that you think were before their time, brands that today would be incredibly popular, but maybe had the wrong ethos for the moment?
I mean, my totally subjective personal feelings involved. I think McNary.
Ooh, yeah,
Mark McNary, I think, would fucking thrive in this current moment of kind of like in between streetwear, menswear. Like that was his whole thing, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like Wild Prince.
That's a great
but
one.
Like super like solid references to like, the best that ever did it. Like his shirts were like, basically modeled after Brooks Brothers. He came up with like Dike.
And J Press.
And J Press.
Yeah.
And he worked at Supreme. Like all that fucking CV is like exactly what you want today.
McNary is the most underappreciated of all time, most underrated. I mean, McNary, I didn't even think of that. I have a quick little list here. I didn't even think of that, but you're so fucking right. Anyone else? Axis Folk Technology. You always
Axis
bring that
Folk
one
Tech,
up.
because just capitalizing on the Gorp moment. I mean, I think Kyle's still very like Kyle.
Oh,
Kyle Fish is like
100%.
He's a outdoorsman, a Gorper general, but like, yeah, I think like Axis Folk Tech would be fucking fire. And then the other one, I think he's still. Oh, I would say, fuck, I had one on the tip of my mouth, tip of my tongue. I would say, okay, McNary. Oh, Nom de Guerre.
Oh my God, dude, I literally just wrote that down.
On the doc, I don't see it.
No. In my notes, I have it. Sorry, I was trying to make it seem like I was just like coming off the dome with some good ones. I just wrote down Nom de Guerre. Yo, Nom de Guerre was, that's what, I think a lot of what someone like Virgil is attempting to do is kind of what Nom de Guerre was doing, which was like streetwear, but like and this often can come off as like, I don't know, self-important or like, highfalutin or overinflated, but like this idea of making it very cerebral and a lot of like narratives and ideas. I mean, Nom de Guerre, the best example of this, and I know this because I'm a nerd, their collection, Countdown to Violence. You're talking about like technical high fashion pieces, but presented in like that shit was hard as fuck. And it was New York, and you could cop like from a tier 0 Nike account at that store, but they also had this like brand. And that was, I mean, that's got to be patient zero for a lot of stuff that we're talking about that influenced probably a generation of guys like Virgil. And
then I think he's still around. But I think that his like launch moment, I think happened a little too early, and I think would have made a bigger impact if it happened like around now. Is Thaddeus O'Neal?
Oh hell yeah,
yeah, super hot surfer, bro. But it's kind of this like luxe hippie, like drug rug hoodies, but like with like crazy shit. I mean, it's like out there, but it's like surfy and vibey. And I think that it happened. I mean, his shit launched, and he was like touted, and he like won awards and shit. And he I think was like in the CFDA, but he was touted as like, I mean, every fucking American designer is like the next Tom Ford or whatever. Sure. But not to that he's like a Tom Ford type guy. No. But everyone's like, oh, like next up. And then it
was always crazy to me that like Elder Statesman popped off, but Thaddeus O'Neal, who did a similar like very much West Coast surfer influenced, relaxed luxury thing. And I know that the Elder Statesman's all cashmere, so it's like very specific and probably actually an easier sell than releasing like collections that like. And his inspiration was crazy. Those runway shows were really great, but it might have been
it was like druggy
for people, even if it was like wearable stuff.
It was like shamany and like ayahuasca-y, but like not in a annoying or like college-y way, but it was I think it was just too expensive, and I think it launched and like had its like first shine a little too early. And I think if it had been at a different time, closer to now, I think it would have maybe done better.
I agree 100%. Just deleting Nom de Guerre off my list. Okay, I have a couple more to throw in here on my nerd shit. As far as like fashion designers that were doing runway shows and doing clothing that I was a huge fan of at the time, and I'm still a fan of, and both of these guys are working in varying capacities, but Michael Bastian, who is someone who kind of like did the East Coast prep thing in a way that was elevated, but like really relaxed and felt super authentic. And it is a way that
is he not still around?
Nah, that's the thing. He like they're not, I don't think the brand puts stuff out, and they're definitely not doing like runway shows in full collections. So, and I'm sure he's like doing stuff with partners and things like that, but definitely not at the level that I'm talking about. But that's a way that I find myself dressing a lot now.
Do you still have a lot of his stuff?
Nah, I really don't. My brother has a bunch of it, and to be honest, I couldn't really afford it. So I was such a huge fan, but I only had a couple pieces. Obviously, when Antonio was the deputy creative director there, I would go to the sample sale and get hooked up here and there. But and honestly, some of the stuff like a pair of Stubbs and Wooten Michael Bastian collab like slippers, I have those and I like wear them to weddings still. Like they look great. And then another guy, Umit Banan, a Turkish designer, who definitely was doing like the kind of global menswear citizen shit.
Jet setter.
Yeah, that I always thought was super fucking cool. I met him one time. He was just such a fucking rad guy. Definitely was like the guy who designs, and you're like, I want to buy into the clothes so that I can buy into like this guy and be like him. Aaron Levine doing Hickey, which we talked about with Aaron, and then by extension, when Ian Velarde launched his own line, obviously Ian famously worked, not famously, but Ian worked with Aaron a bunch. Dude, Ian Velarde, man, wow, what a fucking designer. I think
okay, but I
don't even know what he's up to now.
Are these brands that you wish would come back, or you think that were before their time?
Well,
because all these guys had like Michael Bastian was like the fucking Americana
I guess you're right.
menswear guy.
I guess you're right. I guess Velarde, I'm kind of misreading this wrong to some degree.
Yeah.
But Velarde was never huge, and Hickey definitely was never appreciated. And then my final one is Proper Gang, which is by a dude who I think is now a designer at Supreme, or he was even a designer at Supreme.
Proper Gang's still around.
Yeah, but it's not really. I don't know how often they put new stuff out, and Proper Gang is very under the radar, and to me, it's fucking sick.
Yeah.
So those are my picks, and I think you're right. I kind of read the question wrong a bit. But.
No, that's fine. Because again, like Thaddeus O'Neil, I'm pretty sure is still designing it. He did a collab with Bonobos. I wore his shirt in the fucking photo shoot.
Oh, you're right. So did I. We both did. And crazier too, I think Ian Velarde was designing for Bonobos Golf because he's like a golf guy. I think he was even working there when we did that shoot. So that's weird that both Thaddeus and Ian kind of popped up.
All these like fucking McNary is, full-time designing out in LA for one of those like subscription brands. Kyle's obviously fucking on top of the world with Brain Dead. Yeah. I don't really know the people behind Nom de Guerre. Thaddeus still designing. Michael, like all these people landing on their feet. It's just, again, that like their brand either like popped too early, or I think more likely was like kind of done dirty by the whole like, mechanisms of the fucked up fashion industry where that is hopefully like, going to change or hit a reset moment.
Here's a little trivia thing about Nom de Guerre. I know because you asked like what are they up to, and I might be like speaking out of turn here, but like this is a thing that people talked about for a while. Apparently, what happened with Nom de Guerre is there was two men and a woman, and it was like a love triangle nuclear explosion, and that's why it doesn't exist anymore. And I remember trying to track down the story because people would like gossip about it or whatever because it was such a sick store and such a sick brand. And I think there was like a blog post that was written in like a blog spot that was written about this. This is gossip. I mean, I'm not going to pretend this is anything but that, but I remember like reading that and being like, holy shit, but it was some love triangle. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but that's what I read.
Did you ever go to I never went to the store. Did you ever go to the store?
That's before my time. That's where, it's where CHCM is basically Nom de Guerre.
Yeah. I was like,
on Bonds. It's not even the exact same fucking spot, to be honest. I don't know.
I think it's like Broadway and like West Village. I was too young to like do it.
That's the generation before us. I think that's that's Virgil and the OG Supreme guys.
I think Caramonica is a huge Nom de Guerre head.
Probably. I'm sure like dudes like maybe like Ronnie or Teddy are probably familiar. I mean, it's weird to me that I guess you were too young because you grew up in the city, but this would have been like it was above your pay grade.
This was like adult. Yeah, this was like adult shit. I was like fucking around with like Yellow Rat Bastard.
Exactly. Is the next question for me to ask?
And Blades. I ask it to you.
Oh, okay, cool.
John Cena. Great name. Can't even see it.
Can't see me. Camo. The John Cena, that guy's in full camo.
Yeah. Lawrence and Chuck too. I want to know this one from Chuck. And then I'll go. What is your ultimate grail, John? Something you're always hunting for or maybe missed out on?
It changes so much, so that's why. And I know this is a good question that people probably definitely want answers from us on, but I don't really like have one. Like you and I are lucky enough that like we've been in the game a long time. Like we've seen things come, we've seen things go. We've definitely like been a part of a lot of trends. Like I've bought a lot of stuff that I thought I needed to have that ultimately like proved me wrong. I will say a great suit. I kind of have it. It's this Isaiah suit that's dyed with blueberries. Unlike James, I love a double-breasted suit more than anything. That it was always kind of it. The suit I can wear to everything. My own rehearsal dinner, to someone else's wedding. I can wear it to an event. I can break it up and kind of like freak it as separate. So I have that. So for me now, and I'm not also trying to sound like some fucking rich asshole because I'm not. We're talking big ticket like watches and shit. I think that with watches and people that are like into Rolexes, like there is this kind of like progression that you could see yourself as you potentially get more successful, as you can see yourself saving up money. You could see like, so I know what my next one is, at least I think, and what maybe the one is after that. So that's really what, and I'm not trying to sound like, again, a rich asshole, but that's really the truth of the matter.
I think a suit, like a suit is always fucking tough, right? Like 3 suits. Like I'm not in love with any of them. Maybe 3 or 4. One of them is just like outrageously unwearable. It's just like wild, like Arlagache. I mean, it's wearable. It's fire, but it's like a fun suit, right? So
Sure,
it's like,
right. It's more of a
you don't want to be the fun suit guy unless it's like New Year's Eve or like
I was like Gene at my wedding, kind of, and everyone's like
the bolo,
you're, which was cool, and I will give him credit because he, again, the most unique personal style. We'll give him that.
Yes.
That one, but it's like you don't want, to your point, right? You don't want to be that fucking guy,
right? Unless the occasion calls for it. So,
exactly.
So that's not necessarily my ultimate grill, John, but I think, like a fucking fire suit, I think that is wearable to everything is definitely, for me, also up there. Chuck, what about you?
I hate to be boring, but probably the Storm Blue Union ones. I would have loved to get a pair of those.
Those are great, though. That's a great choice. Those are awesome.
Yeah, I was trying to think of clothes like, for a while, like I really wanted that Cavempt pullover. It's like an olive one with like a Let me check it out at Grailed once.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That one,
slapper, dude.
That one's sick. I don't know. I think that's it.
It's hard, right? Because like
it is tough.
We're not necessarily like fucking archive or like expensive fashion guys. So like,
yeah, and this
so the it's not a specific John. It's like a more general concept, like the perfect suit or like.
And I will say that I bet you a lot of our listeners, if you're a young John's enthusiast, you definitely like know what your answer is to this question. That's sick, kind of like with Chuck and the unions. Whereas like you and I, like when you and guess what, to all of you people that like have that answer ready to go, you will eventually be like making the kind of money where like you can acquire that thing, unless like the thing you want doesn't exist or is like a fucking Raph Simmons Poltergeist parka. You know,
I think I want my ultimate grill, John. And I went to my grill listing just now when you guys were talking, scrolled through like my favorites, and it kind of triggered something that I remembered. So every time I go to Japan, I kind of have my route of like stores, but I'm not necessarily like, copying that much. Nepenthes, Tokyo is fucking like whatever. I'll put the Google map on Patreon at some point when we're allowed to travel again. But one store that I always go to but never, ever, ever cop from, except for once, is Okura, which is Blue Japan's store, right? And Blue Japan is part of this Mother Earth kind of like family where there's a bunch of brands under them. But Blue Japan they're like widely available in the US. Mr. Porter, a bunch of places carry them.
Great brands.
But Okura it's like a fucking like Japanese ass temple. Like it's literally like a Japanese temple from like centuries ago. It's
like a historical monument or a historical building.
It's like made of wood. You go in there, it is just so fucking beautiful. Like you think Bodhi smells good, Chuck? Oh my God, the smell at Okura. But they do all like hand indigo dye. I mean, like you see this like Boro blanket. Like this is, not that old. They have Boro John's like wall to wall, and it's so fucking crazy expensive. So I think like I don't even know if I can pull off Boro like robe.
Sure,
but it's just like
ridiculous.
It's
John Mayer's doing it already, so
it's one of those stores where you go in and you're just like, oh my God, like I need to recreate this vibe at the crib somehow. I need to like take a piece of this with me home,
right?
Whether it's in the form of like a memory or a John. So I think it's like it's so prohibitively expensive because it is like everything's like a one of one. It's all fucking handmade from like ancient textiles. So that's it. So for me, it's like some sort of hand indigo dyed Boro thing from Okura, which again like is way too fucking expensive.
One thing I actually forgot about that I got a little over a year ago was Belgian loafers. I had always loved Belgians, and I never had a pair of Belgians, and I never trekked up to the store. You couldn't buy them online or anything, and just always admired them on friends and from afar. And then when I was getting married, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna get Belgians. I'm going to get lizard calf Belgians to wear with my tux. And now obviously it's the shoes that I wear the most. And I can't wait to get my next pair. But that was something that I just kind of like, pussyfooting around and hadn't bought. So, but great fucking question. And I don't know, I would love to see a fucking Reddit thread. I want to read everyone's, because this is such an awesome, interesting question that tells you so much about people. So yeah, someone should make this a thread, or bring it up as a topic of discussion in the Cord. This would be fucking sick.
And whether it's copping the Belgians for your wedding and finding or hunting. Like I had my eye on I had some Grail Johns, some Legace, like old Legace that I ended up copying via Grail, and it's just like hunt it, whether you're hunting through like Grailed or whatever, or you just like decide to pull the trigger, or you finally like get a big payday. That feeling of like getting it is phenomenal, right? And I guess like kind of going back to like the question about like being more mindful of buying less. It's like
Why
really
you want
only
stuff?
buying shit that like triggers that feeling.
Yeah, like exactly. It's like, why do you want something? Do you want the new fucking off-whites because like, or the new Dunk because it's like just new and other people have it and like you need to have it too? Or like, is this something you've been trying to track down? And there's stages of this. Like we don't expect anyone, you know, who's green to the Johns game to just immediately like know the history of everything to like cop. So I get that, but I think that for me, and is that not the difference between a Johns enthusiast and a hypebeast? And I hope that everyone at home listening to this pod has an answer to this question that they would love to share. Okay, Chuck has to leave. So this part, he's involved with this one. So Coop 3PO wants to know, Jimmy and Larry, what were your initial impressions of each other when you first met at BPMW? And Chuck, Chef's not here, unfortunately. Chuck, were Jimmy and Larry the same as you expected them to be after working with them for a couple of years now? And Chuck, why don't you go first?
I mean, like on the pod and stuff, and when we're just like joking around, like of course you guys were just as funny as you were like on the, you know, just
Thanks,
through the headphones, but like
funny like how?
Funny how? Like a clown? How?
Smart funny, real like The Office. Have you heard of it? But like I not that I wasn't expecting it, but you guys are just so unbelievably kind and caring and like.
Shocker.
You guys have done so much
contrary to popular belief.
You guys have done so much for like a lot of the people that you've worked with, and like I think if anything, that was kind of I don't know. Like,
did you think we were gonna be assholes?
Maybe. I mean, I see what you're capable of when a mic is in front of you. So maybe a little bit, but like, no, you guys have done a lot for me, and like I hoped that you guys would kind of like. Do whatever it took to help me live comfortably in New York, but you guys kind of went above and beyond that, and
had to take care of our son.
I wasn't necessarily expecting. Sure. I was hoping for that, but I wasn't necessarily expecting that.
Damn. Well, wow. It's nice that you fucking just left everything behind and came to New York just like hoping for the best, and that we were able to kind of exceed expectations.
Chuck,
but, that's the beauty of taking a risk, baby. Forget about
sometimes it pays off.
Forget about just like James and I going above and beyond for a son, but like look at Chuck. Chuck fucking he was the first domino to fall, man. He just took a leap. You know, take a leap of faith with me.
I could have wound up like Howie Bling. I took a risk. I took a gamble. It paid off.
Are you having fun yet?
Definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. Yes. Cool. Good to
know. Thank you, Chuck, for those kind words.
Appreciate you, bud.
I'm moved. I mean, I really just hope you don't die tomorrow eating 24 hot dogs.
I know. That would be a sad ending.
Hey, man, keep it on the fairway. Keep it on the fairway.
How it started, how it ended.
Yeah. how it ended. Oh, no. Don't even joke like that.
Okay, so what was the question? Wait, Chuck, are you bouncing?
Yeah, you can bounce. It's fine. We know you have your shit to do.
Okay.
All right, later, buddy.
Bye,
thanks.
Chuck.
What a great note to go out on. We love you, man.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye,
Peace.
Chuck.
See you later.
Yeah.
Your impression of me initially at BPMW when you met me.
You were just like the loud, brash. I was like, who is this guy? Like, why is he wearing
alpha? So I'm an alpha male.
No, I was just like, this guy sucks, and that sucks. But I was like, why is this guy dressing in fucking suits and shit? That was kind of the
dress
question.
Dress for the job you want. So you
podcaster.
So I was a bit of an unknown quantity.
Well, it's funny. So I showed up for my interview with Steve Duell at BPMW wearing a J. Crew Ludlow suit and a band skinny tie that my dad got me like for my birthday that year. Because it was like, I think I had like come back from Thailand and was like, all right, ready to find it. Or no, I'd quit a job. And then I was like, all right, ready to like, get another job now. And he's like, happy birthday, son. Here's a tie. See you next year.
Yeah, right. Get a fucking job.
No, and so I'd been there for not a minute, but like a while before you showed up. And then like, I don't know, but then we became lunch buddies. You convinced me to sign on to create a Twitter account. I don't really know what my first initial, absolute first thought was when I saw you, but it was definitely like, why is this guy wearing shirts? Like that shit is uncomfortable.
I mean, whatever, man. I fucking look good. I have two distinct, at least from what my dog shit memory, if I can fucking dig up, two things. One is that everybody there, I was like, I am so scared that I am not cool enough, that I am not qualified. And you were the only dude. I was like, this guy's the approachable one. Also, because you were like the intern, which brings, and like, you're just like
the same age,
the lowest guy in the totem pole. Absolutely. Yep. Though I honestly, it wasn't so much about age, because I had been like dealing with like, not like menswear proper industry people, but like other fucking nerds and stuff. And the ages were all over the place. Some of which, like some of those homies, they're still homies were a little bit older. They were grooming me, I guess you could say. But at BPMW was
Chris D'Eliaing you.
Yeah, but at BPMW, that's professional. That's a fucking real gig. Like I was intimidated. So you were not intimidating. So I thought you were like down to earth, even though the other side of the coin was like, and you're a city kid, which as a Jersey guy, that's always like, I'm always going to give you props for that, because that just, everyone knows that makes you cooler, especially when you grow up in the tri-state area. But the other thing I was
man, you were the coolest kid at the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, right, which counts for nothing. But it was the coolest kid at the cul-de-sac, equivalent to the lamest dude at Yellow Rat Bastard.
No, I was one of the cooler kids at Yellow Rat Bastard. I wasn't buying like the fucking like superhero t-shirts. Right. You know, I was copping like
Is Yellow Rat Bastard just Hot Topic / Spencer gifts for city?
No,
kids?
Yellow Rat Bastard, I think it was a little above that, and then there was like I forget the name of the store. Just one store down was like the more like hood store, where it was like First Down,
Fubu,
all that, yeah, all that shit.
Pele.
But even more like, I don't even like Lugs, obviously, and then Blades was like next door if you wanted to get your fucking.
Well, Blades is. On. I mean, Blades is a suburban store in the city, though. Maybe it was cool at a time.
I don't think it was cool. It's just that like, when I thought that I skated, that was just like right. That was the third store in the lineup right there.
Right, absolutely. And then so the other thing about you that I was like, okay, so this dude is like the same age, but he's like a year older in school, so he's had like way more time than me out in like the real world. And I was like, so you're just like an intern here? And I remember you not giving a shit about, like, I know you definitely wanted this. You wanted something. This is probably, you've talked about this before, it was probably the most acceptable thing your like lazy, unambitious ass would do. But that I kind of got a bit, you were aloof. That was like, oh, this is like the aloof city kid who has no ambition. Like maybe he's rich or some shit.
Like Timothy Chalamet and Lady Bird.
Basically, right?
Well, no, yeah. I was working other jobs while interning. And I had savings. My previous job, researching and writing a copy of a draft of a book, paid really well. And I didn't really spend. I was like, I've always been like very
right. Those aren't careers, though. That's, I guess, my thing is like you didn't have a career, and I had like not left the career, but I had like left the thing, and I was like, this is gonna be my new career. And you're like, I don't know, I'm fucking trying it out, bro. Which I guess is admirable.
Yeah, no,
in its own
I was
way,
like,
right? You know,
I mean, I remember like stumbling upon a video on like a blog, and I was like, oh, like 3 women started this company. They seem cool. One of them's half Asian. Like, I'll apply, whatever.
That's how you found it? I never even have.
Yeah, on Pause Magazine or some shit.
Brand Pimps Media Whores. Yeah. Pause Magazine. We asked 3 women, independent women.
We had dinner with Corrado yesterday, and he was like the Prince of Menswear. He was like the head, basically like he was like the head of A&R at BPMW, right? Like he was like courting people to come to Capsule, or like, you know, he oversaw the sales as well. And we asked him, we were like, what did you think of us when we were just the fucking 2 young, dumb, and full-come idiots at BPMW?
Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, Dumb and Dumber, basically.
He said you were like, he's like, I knew Larry was a star, period. He's like, Jimmy, like, I was,
Facts.
Right? That's what he said.
Kind of, yeah. He was just like, "Yo, this dude's ridiculous. Like, I get he's be.
He's like, he's ridiculous, but I respect his opinion." And he's like, "Yo, Larry, should I? What do you think of DMA coming into Caps?"
DMA slaps. Right. That's right. He was like, circle. "Yo, he knew I had taste." That's, I think, what he was alluding to. Yeah, knowledge, exactly. Right.
Mm-hmm. And I forget what he said about me. What did he say about me?
What did he say about you? I don't know. I mean, I think that's the thing about BPMW that it's awesome that we have this relationship with Chris now. And I don't remember exactly what he said, but I was always jealous of how you had such a better, honestly, wherever we work, I'm not popular as a person, generally speaking. You were very popular at Complex, and at BPMW, even though we joked about you, I don't know if you want to say why you found yourself in some hot water. I'm sure we've talked about it before after a certain Christmas party, but you just, I don't know. I think you were like, you become friends with your coworkers very easily, and more than I think the average person.
I thought he said, and I was pretty fucking gone at that point. Like we drank a lot of wine, but I think he said something like, it took me a minute, but then I realized that Jimmy was like super fucking smart and like a super hard worker.
Yeah. Something like that.
But it took me like
I'm lazy as fuck. That's the other thing, right? Like I don't fucking work hard at all.
They gave me your computer when you left, and I was like, so where are the forms and the files? And they're like, they should be on the computer. I'm like, they're not. And like, oh my God, Larry literally didn't do shit while he was here.
At any given job, I'm just kind of bullshitting my way through it until I can fail upwards into the next thing. And then, listen, I don't want to leave people holding the proverbial bag, but suck my dick. I'm out. I'll tell you.
All right. Okay. Gorp correspondent. Should have gone with Gorp respondent, obviously. But they asked,
yeah, that's dumb as hell.
Will Jimmy ever find true love?
I hope so, bro. I really hope you do. That's my answer there. Like, what am I going to say? No, but I will say that, you're improving yourself a lot. And we've talked about this a ton on pod. And I don't think it's just because of like the insane year that we've had. Not think about what's happened to us professionally, and then add on top of it what's happening to everyone else. Pandemic.
Think of us first.
Race war. The whole fucking thing. Social upheaval. Like, I think that I'm proud. Man, listen, Jim. I'm proud of the man you're becoming, man. I see it every day, and even though obviously there's been some bumps in the road, most notably a failed relationship, a publicly failed relationship.
Not that, hopefully semi-public. I mean, I think the thing you need, if you're gonna find true love, you have to like want to find true love. And I think like for a second there, I was like, do I? But then it was like,
give it to get it, right?
But then it was kind of like, after being in a one of the more serious relationships in my like recent adult life, it was like, okay, like yeah, I do. So I think it's deciding that you do, and then it's kind of like figuring that out. My one thing, and maybe this is a mistake, and just like a sign of my aloofness, is I've never wanted to like force a round peg into a square hole. Except that's not a sex metaphor.
No, I get it.
But like I've had friends that are always in like constant monogamous relationships, and it's like, yeah, like she's my girlfriend, and it's like, wait, what? Like, I don't know. So I think it's getting to a certain point in time where it's like any serious relationship worth pursuing has to kind of like be for the long haul, right? I don't know.
Have you considered? Oh, this is a loaded ass question. I don't mean this as a diss at all. Have you considered that maybe like you're the kind of guy that you don't want that? Maybe. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, but I think I do.
Okay, cool.
But I think I don't want to force it with like the wrong person. I don't think that. And thank God we live in this time, because like fucking 50 years ago, everyone would just be like, oh yeah, he's gay, or like his wife is, which isn't a bad thing, or like his wife died of like fucking typhus or whatever.
He's a widower. He's a pathetic gay widower.
He's a confirmed bachelor. But it's like, in 2020, like
coxman. But then you could, but what's the other side of the other side of the coin is a Lothario fucking coxman. Dude.
Yeah, and then you die of syphilis. That would have been you, probably. You die of syphilis at like 53.
Also, how long ago are we talking about? You're talking about like fucking. I thought you meant like the 1950s. Talking about fucking the 1800s.
Maybe would have found true love in the concentration camps America put the Japanese Americans in. Sorry, being insufferably woke right now.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the question is like, hopefully.
But it's a problem when I call out Barack Obama.
Yes.
Okay. Shout out identity politics. Okay,
traitor.
here's two questions from your Jimmy. In the past, you've mentioned teaching in Thailand, but have you considered teaching in the States?
Fuck no. Teaching in
Fuck
Thailand,
them kids.
Teaching in Thailand taught me that I just do not have the patience to be a fucking teacher, and I think that anyone that works in education is I'm not being corny. I'm like, yo, how do you do that? Like, how do you educate children with no money, no resources, no support, especially now? You are a fucking hero. Hats off to you. And like somebody made a tweet where it's like, yo, after like 3 weeks of like quarantine and teaching my kids at home, like, yo, pay teachers $1 billion a year.
Yeah, for real. For real, dude. That's honestly the most thankless job. And arguably the only job more important to society than professional podcasters.
Yes.
I would say.
All right. And the follow-up question from is Larry, you mentioned wanting to be a buddy/mentor. You ever think of coaching youth sports teams? Coach Larry?
This is, first of all, I've got the fucking vibe for it. It absolutely aligns with my personal brand. But, and this is going to be hard for people to believe and sound crazy, but I know that I'm a hot professional model now. But at one point, as recently as I would say the launch of this podcast, I was a fat, disgusting, pathetic slob. And while I'm hot, I'm not like super athletic. The only sport I played growing up was soccer. And while like I ultimately like played varsity soccer for fucking whatever 4 years and was like fairly decent, played on some traveling teams or whatever, not a fucking big deal. That's the only sport I would be qualified to coach, and I'm not really trying to coach youth soccer. So as much as it makes sense,
but you know enough about sports to be like, yo, fucking run the fucking pick and roll, bitch. Like, no,
yeah, I mean,
they're kids,
maybe.
bro. They're not like.
I am a jock. I guess you're right. I don't know. I want to win, bro. I'm not that competitive, but I don't want to like lose. I don't want to set these kids up for fucking.
It would also be, I think, kind of suspect if a man with no children started coaching. Like,
for sure.
Every fucking coach I had, like their kid was on the team, right?
Yeah, I would like to make a point.
Except for high school shit.
I played for a coach when I was very, very young. On like playing in like Mawa Township soccer, and it was the same team every year. I guess like the coaches not like drafted, but they like got their friends' kids on the team. We were so bad, and I felt like a fucking loser, and I didn't want to be on that team. But like, and it's cool being like, the LeBron of the squad or whatever, but my parents being like, no, that's like that's our friend, that's your friend's dad, like you're on this team.
That sucks.
So I would never want to put another kid through that. I would never want to halt, anyone's fucking shine. I wouldn't block that shit. So I don't know if I could bring the fucking the X's and O's that are necessary. I could do it for the podcast, right? I'm the offensive coordinator of this shit with the visor. I'm not gonna. I wouldn't do it to kids. God forbid, like they don't have that winning mentality. Like I don't want to be that. I don't want to be responsible.
I was pretty sick at baseball when I was a kid, and then when I got to
what position did you play?
Like shortstop, center field, pitcher, but like third base. But then when I got to high school, I was the fucking worst, right? And like that was a big humbling experience.
Oh, sure.
But then the flip side was that I was fucking nice on the football team, but both teams kind of sucked.
Got it.
But I like led the league in like return yards yards average per return and like touchdown receptions because it was just razzle dazzle every game. But
talk about this.
I think that I learned
4-on-4 city league. Like, what wasn't it like? Yeah.
No, we like go up to the fucking Bronx and play these like Clinton, DeWitt Clinton High School and just get our asses handed to us.
Jeez.
One year we were actually kind of nice. I learned to lose, like, and I learned to not give a fuck about losing. And I think like you talk about like the aloofness and like whatever, like, yes, it probably was like the copious amounts of marijuana I was smoking at the time and be more interested in like fucking my girlfriend in the bathroom versus like winning sports. But to me, I'm just like, yo, who gives a shit? Like, this doesn't fucking matter. Stop crying. Anyway.
Thank you for that.
All right. Who is this? Me? Oh, this is you.
We alternated the last two. So I guess at this point, I'll just ask you, all right, Big Zeus.
Great
Shout out Big Zeus. He wants to know, I thought the discussion with Gian regarding fashion blogs selling merch and having skin in the game was particularly interesting. Are truly unbiased blogs and Zood boards a thing of the past, or is this a natural progression that comes with growth?
Well, with blogs and Zood boards, you want subjective bias. Like you want, like, right? You want the person curating it. You don't want like a truly unbiased blog.
I think it means in terms of SpawnCon.
Okay.
I think that's like kind of, because I agree with you. You want a fucking perspective, right?
Yeah, because a truly unbiased blog would be like what Hypebeast used to be, which was like literally every single thing.
I'm not trying to look at the new PP drop from our boy Philip. Like, get the fuck out of here. I'll see that on his Instagram.
I'll see that on Vogue Runway.
Yeah, right. I'll see that on fucking in National Geographic. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, look, I think it's you have these blogs that now have stores, Complex, High Snob, Hypebeast. You have Zood, you have our boy Big Hidden has his merch is fucking slapping and raking in the fucking pounds. So you want these people, like if you want these people to survive, they gotta they can't rely on shitty advertising, right? So I think like, yes, get used to it, but I think that the ones that are gonna, like, people are still figuring out how to do it right. And I do pride ourselves on like doing sponsored content, like pushing our merch in like a fun, natural, organic way. As corny as like words like organic and authentic sound, you can still see right fucking through, anyone that's like pushing a certain agenda at the expense of their perspective or their, assuming that the audience is dumb, which is like the biggest mistake and easiest mistake you can make is that the audience is dumb. They're not fucking dumb. My G.
Second you do that, the second you're fucking on the wrong path. I got a couple thoughts here. One is that, like, I don't know, man. To me, like, does the answer matter? Can't you tell that? Like, and I'm not trying to be a dick to Big Zeus. This is a fine question. Obviously, it's a furthering a discussion that we have with the guest. But like, I don't know. I never question it because I can just tell. And also, it's like, even if I'm being served something that like I don't appreciate, like, am I holding it like against? Like
what did Tyler the Creator say? Just close your eyes.
Yeah, you're right. It's not
just walk away from the computer.
Yeah, it's like cyberbullying. SpawnCon is basically cyberbullying when you break it down. No, I think that you got to know what you like, and I guess we're in a different position than maybe the people that are writing in and that are also like listening to the show and looking to us. I think that it's naive to think that it like this idea of a thing of the past. It's naive to think that this kind of thing never happened, even with like something like 4Pins that made like no money there. And not that we were being paid to blog, but like there was SpawnCon. We talked about it with Moy. I'm assuming that came out like for the Levi's orange tab shit. Like, and it was just presented in an obvious way. And if you have to do it because like you're being ordered to, and you can't control it, like you try to have fun with it, like at 4Pins. And then with shit like, like hidden, right? Just because he's selling the merch, like, do you like the merch? He definitely thinks it's good. I don't think he would be putting it out because that, like, we know him, and anyone who listens to the pod could tell that, like, he's, I think, a genuine guy with integrity, just like us. You and I are not going to work with brands that don't make sense, and we're not going to just, like, push bullshit merch. Like, everything, we are living in these shorts. If you didn't buy these shorts, I feel sorry for you. Yeah. Like, you didn't fucking make some point about, like, media or James and I being fucking, crumb snatchers. You just proved that
our new favorite term.
You just proved that you don't know good product, and you got to trust us. So trust in us. And as far as other people, you hope for the best, but if you can't smell it a mile away, come on, bro.
And I guess like, look, you need these young whippersnappers who are just busy fucking, snatching crumbs. You need people to look up to, and you need guidance, and you need like expertise. But I think that this speaks to something that we always, say is like super important, is like developing your own perspective, right? So like, don't just, if let's just say Complex, if Complex is selling fucking, I don't know, Stussy in their web shop, and they're like pushing Stussy, are you that weak spine that you're just gonna be like, oh, I need Stussy now? No, it's like, do you actually like Stussy? I think you have to like develop your own perspective and kind of stick to that. And yes, it is going to be informed from like Zood boards and logs and shit, but like, you got to build your own fucking personal sense of style. That's what it is. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Move on.
Are we doing these remaining ones, or are they grayed out because we're
No. I just copied and pasted them, but forgot to format them. All right. Jay Cantor 23 asks, as someone who's essentially worn Levi 511 since 2012, 2013-ish, how do I make the transition into wider, bigger pants without looking like a clown? I want to stay up with trends, but I just don't think I'm a big pants type of guy. Am I destined to be the swagless homie forever? Or are there some decent pants that can help me transition as someone who's going to get upset over not being able to get the 18 East Goreckis? Long question. Big pants, Lawrence. How does he do it?
Yeah, I mean, well, one, you got to know your body type. You got to know what works for you. That I don't mean like short guys can't wear wider pants. You just got to like know thyself in a physical sense. So like, yes, there are some people where like big pants are just like never going to work, or you're going to look in the mirror and it's just never going to look aesthetically right. But this idea of like, is the trend, like how wide are we talking about here? Like your 511s you might just want to upgrade them into like a little bit of a more fuller cut jean, right? Like, do you want like crazy huge wide pants? Or are you just talking about like trying to add some Carhartts or some Dickies to your rotation? So it's like, just get some, literally try on, find a place that sells Dickies. And like, if that's what your thing is, just try on Dickies. And like, and the easiest thing I would say is to crop them. Cropped wide pants look good on a lot of people, and whether that's whether you want to cuff them or cut them. So that's just like an easy thing for me. Almost all of my wide pants are cropped in some way, and I'm not like going to the tailor necessarily for like a pair of cheap ass pants like Dickies or whatever. But just that is one tip when you're messing around with some of these cheaper styles and seeing what works.
I think Dickies is absolutely the move. I mean, I don't know if you saw me cranking out, 50 pull-ups on IG story in my Dickies, but it was 2 one-handed ones.
Oh, 2 one-handed ones, right. So 4 two-handed ones.
Yes. And then about 2,700 two-handed ones. But yeah, Dickies, absolutely $25 at fucking Pops or Dave's or just Dickies.com.
Yellow Rat Bastard.
Yellow Rat Bastard. And then I think it's super important that you have to understand, like big pants are kind of tough that they don't work with every type of footwear and they don't work with every type of like top silhouette, right? So like you probably have to go a little bigger and boxier on up top. Although I also think that like what Kanye
Small
does
pants,
is
big shirt.
but he does small shirt, big pants. And I think that that's kind of a good look, but I think you need fucking boots or like a chunky, something chunky down below. You can't have a fucking loafer. Otherwise you're just going to look like a fucking clown or super like fashion with a capital F. If they're slouching or like completely covering the entire shoe, that's basically it.
I think the crop helps with the footwear element for sure.
This assumes no crop, but you should crop.
Yeah. Okay. I'm assuming that this guy has his name spelled like fucking ASAP Mom, Black Scale, 2012 type shit. But what's the wildest piece of TF merch you guys would realistically like to make? Jimmy, that question is from Jackson.
I mean, shit. I think collabing with like bigger and better brands is always going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Because like leave it to the experts. But I guess if we're talking farm to ass, bro, I mean,
car, the podcast car,
outerwear, right?
Yeah,
that's the fucking holy grail. It's just like outerwear,
sure.
And like I think knits too. Knits, like if we could do like a fucking sick like.
What is that even like?
If you could do like a shaggy cardi.
Oh yeah, that'd be mohair. I mean, yeah, that'd be sick. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, what's wild? I mean, whoever gives us the opportunity to make real Johns and realistically that's going to be collaborative. It's like that's always wild to me. The boot was wild. Some people that we're talking to now, that's wild also. And nothing, and obviously not to be big things coming for the third time's a charm. But that's always. I'm not trying to be also humble, but it's like. It's weird. And like, we're not going to put out fucking, I mean, we could do some fun merch. Like we could do Nalgene's and we could do, I don't want to give away one thing that well, I guess that's a collab, but like, I'm talking about that ceramic potential.
Yeah.
Yep.
Forgot about that.
Okay. Well, already said too much, but things like that, that's, I don't know. So for me, yeah, every collab is wild. Yeah. And if the collab is a fucking jacket, some piece of outerwear or a fucking mohair cardigan, yeah, that's fucking wild. I don't know if this dude wanted like condoms. I don't know what he was expecting, but that's the real answer.
I guess what we have to realize that we are not designers, so we don't know how to make this shit. I think in collaborating, Lauren's had a failed brand, but in collaborating, you can
underappreciate.
You are given run of the mill before it's time.
Run of the mill. Run it back.
In collaborating, you're given a super strong foundation to then build off of. Like, we would never sit down and be like, "Yo, you don't be sick." Like, if we did a fucking duck boot with like a suede upper, guess what? Like, you need to already have that existing. Like, outer. We can't just fucking go to like the outerwear factory and be like, "Yo, make us this fucking sick shit that we like sketched." What the fuck is that? No.
The wildest thing. And speaking of sketch, remember when we showed Ronnie Feig sketches on Fashion Bros? Yeah. Like, he was so pissed. A sneaker would actually be the wildest thing. And not because like, oh, is the sneaker world real? No, it's just like that to me, like who would ever collab? Like no one would ever give us a sneaker to collab. So if anyone does, we're going to do it.
I mean, we got a boot.
Wait, actually, you know what? There was a potential sneaker thing. Do you remember right before? Damn, we did actually fuck. That sucks, man.
We had inroads.
That's the biggest opportunity that we lost when we lost the previous podcast endeavor that shall not be named, that I forget about. That imagine that was like hitting, and I don't know how likely it ever was going to be, but with that brand and how people are perceiving it right now, imagine that shit was hitting, we'd be like fucking
on top.
We would have listened, this hypothetical scenario that we can't really talk about and that is never going to happen. We would have been unfuckwittable.
Big things didn't happen.
I said unfuckable. I mean unfuckwittable, but also unfuckable. All right,
last question. Keller Dennison asks, as a younger Johns enthusiast who wants to move to New York in the future, what are some deep cut things I should know / be aware of before I make the big move?
Shit, dude. I don't know where to even begin. Maybe you have some perspective here. What I'll say is there was another kid whose question for whatever reason is not getting answered, which is like the idea of how much money you need to make to move to New York. I think that's something to be acutely aware of, is like, and you can live here. Like,
bro, you can make any amount of money and make it work in New York. I mean, there's like, there's poverty here in New York. There's poverty here in New York. Like I was making $30,000. You were making, that was a while ago, but like, Yeah.
That was yesterday when we launched a podcast.
So that's why I didn't include it, because the answer is it's not like if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, right? Like you can fucking make it. You can come here with no money, make it happen.
So then so for me, is there a deep cut? No, just do it, bro. That's the thing. It's like, what are you gonna ask? You're gonna submit a question to an AMA to ask a podcaster. Like if James is telling me that it doesn't matter about the money, we take him at face value, even though I think that like it doesn't kind of hurt to have something lined up, some fucking money in your pocket. Maybe just fucking do it, dude. Right? I think
you have to know where you want to live. I think is important ahead of time. And obviously that is driven by price, but I think that
boroughs and neighborhoods.
You're gonna you got to know what borough and what neighborhood, and like that's tough if you're not here and like you don't know people from there. So
that's fair.
Feel free to fucking float in the DMs. Location, because that informs just like your day-to-day life.
That's what's amazing about being in New York is that like listen, if you're gonna be the broke ass dude that lives in Bushwick and you're gonna bike every day all over Manhattan and you're just gonna be out there fucking hustling and grinding somehow to make it an American shit, then I would tell you, James, like that's just part of is that not why you come to New York anyway, where it kind of doesn't matter? You know?
And I think it's be prepared to spend a lot of money and not know where it went. Like you're gonna just end up spending a shitload of money. But there's also ways to like learn how to cook, right? Like make your own fucking food, make your own coffee.
That's a big one.
Make your own coffee, brew your own beer, distill your own mezcal.
That's like that Rikers Riesling we've been talking about.
That Bobby Shmurda.
That real good shit.
Bobby Shmurda Estates. That's it. But then
that's ass to mouth. Fucking front to ass. That's ass to mouth.
Dude. ATM. But like Lauren said, just fucking do it.
Just do it, man. And we say that a lot, but that really is the best advice we could ever give. I don't know what the outro music is, but that's been part 2 of the Q4 AMA. Thank you to everyone who submitted the questions. If we didn't get to it, our apologies. Your question either sucked dick or
left in the dumpster where it belonged.
Or we just didn't have time.
Yeah. And then I mean these are great. So and
love these. I want to do them every. Open. We got. Yeah, these are awesome, and we're trying to do. We said I think we say this like every time we've done an AMA, but this is we want to do them every quarter. I think is what makes sense. New fans come in, new topics get brought up. This
more 5-star ratings.
More 5-star ratings, and we continue to define the zeitgeist. So things change, right? Things change as much as James and I wish to change them, because we give you life and we can take it away at a moment's notice.
All right, Chef. I know you're chilling in the fucking Ozarks right now, but
I hope you're having fun, Chef.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that I keep sending you like Carolina. Audio from like the 6 pods we did in 5 days.
Yeah.
Chef, slap that motherfucking outro music, my G.